Welcome back for part 2 of the Masters of Max mobile app experience podcast with futurist and digital product strategist Julie Ask and your host Tom Bearda.
So you've got this interesting challenge, I think, for on the brand side is you need to put these kind of controls in place in order for it to be on brand, as it were. And I think that's a lot of new learning, isn't it?
Marketers also have to be smart. It's not about just getting like all the data I can, but it's really thinking about like what are these really important moments in the journey that the customer has with me where I do want to engage them, and then what data do I need to gauge them effectively? So a moment is just like a time and place when a brand engages with a consumer, right? And experiences are essentially the sum of moments. Every brand should want to own as many moments as they can. When I own a moment, that means the customer comes to me, they're on my website, on my mobile app. And that's awesome because that's where marketers have the most control over the experience a consumer has. But sometimes they also have to manufacture moments. So they have to generate reasons or create reasons to pull the consumer in to their brand. And then the third category, which is so important to marketers and to brands today, is what we call borrowing moments. And this is where they engage with the consumer on a third-party site. One of the places where consumers, certainly social media, is one of the most important third-party platforms where consumers engage with brands. But after that, another one of the most important ones, especially when consumers are spending money, is on wallets. The wallet is, whether it's in Google or it's in Apple, the wallet is such an important platform because it's not only where I store things like credit cards, but increasingly it's my identity, it's boarding passes, it's coupons, it's tickets, it's, so many things, even how I may or may get access or entry into a building. And so wallet becomes such an important tool that marketers have when they're borrowing moments. The other thing that really helps Wallet stick out is it's a native app that's shipped with most phones. It's not something a consumer has to go and download. Everyone's got one, and almost everyone uses it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. Yeah, owning moments, borrowing moments, manufacturing moments. I love that.
Mobile apps and websites form the core of platforms where consumers are going to engage with brands. There's so many more channels or interfaces that come into play, whether it's moments or it's push notifications or it's in-app or it's a puff of air or whatever it may be. And as it becomes more of a push environment of marketers and brands pushing out information and suggestions and taking action, and less of the pool where the consumer visits me whenever they feel like they have a need, there is going to be more of a demand for orchestration, not just across marketing, but for like operations and customer care service as well. And so orchestration is probably one of the most difficult challenges that brands are facing. It's a really hard problem to solve because it's political. There's so many facets of it that are hard.
For sure. In your opinion, if the customer is, quote, king, right, who ultimately owns that?
Ownership is very fragmented, and I think that's at the core of the problem. There's little tech silos all over the company. This is where brands get into trouble because there's too many little silos competing for the customer's attention. And the customer doesn't want to see functions within your brand. The customer wants to see your brand. In the research that we've done, we've identified dozens of competencies that brands will need to develop to deliver on this unified experience for consumers, especially one that depends more on proactive engagement and less on sitting back and waiting for the customer to come to them. A lot of these competencies are rooted in data. Competency isn't just about buying technology or buying a solution. It's about having a strategy. It's about operational best practices. And then there's also a technology component of it. So you've got to believe in a future that isn't siloed so the consumer sees one brand and not the functions within my brand.
So you have to believe in this idea that a unified experience across app, across web, and everywhere in between is actually important.
Yes, you do.